worksheet and get that set up so that they're ready to go and they're practice, then the next class, since I like them to check their homework, the first one we practice the procedure of, okay, let's pull up Canvas and let's check your homework. In class, this is what you would be doing at home, but let's do it in class.
Oh, so you do
first
like
together.
an activity, like what are these shapes called? Triangle, circle, square. Let's check our answers online. This is where you go. Okay.
Anything that I want them to be responsible for,
Mm.
I try to model or have something to practice it, so that at least once they've known exactly what's expected of them, and they have something to refer back to. This is something that I used once because it was, or my first year here, because it was told to me that I needed to, and then I realized I didn't like it a whole lot, but it was a good homework assignment for the first day. Like, split a piece of paper into 4 quadrants, put your name, my goals for math, something I hope to learn in math, a few of my favorite things, something special about me, and then why learn math, or whatever your 4 quadrants are. But that's kind of a fun first night homework assignment.
And it helps you model where your name goes, what the title is, where it needs to be, how it's going to be checked in class, where you can't really check your answers online, but you could say, you could have like multiple choice at the bottom, what's 2 plus 2, what's 2 plus 4. You need to have your answers checked with the pen. This is where you go, and then have them actually do the easiest things ever.
Right. Fun assignments like that.
Okay. Yeah, because it's motivating for easy little trinket things at home that kind of make them think and get to brag
Yeah,
about
routine.
themselves.
Exactly.
And routine.
But it's all about the routines. And the earlier you can, establish them, the better the year's going to go. The more time you put in at the beginning, the easier the end's going to be.
Exactly. Okay. Before the first day begins, what are the things that go through your mind? Besides the nightmares. What are you thinking about? Are you like reliving the first day for a couple days before school begins? Like constantly eating at your mind, going through it over and over again?
Not really. I mean, because I know how I want it to go. And at this point, I like how it goes. Probably the first, 6, I did something different each year. And I'll have to kind of look back at things and see if I can figure out what I did. I don't even remember at this point. But I think I did more of the welcome to Miss Dennis's room. We are in pre-algebra this year. Here is this syllabus of things that you will learn this year. Here's how we're grading. Here's my rules and expectations, kind of thing, giving it to them and just talking through it. And maybe some sort of a getting to know you activity. I think it's fun too. I don't know if I did it the first day, probably the second day, to have, every first week or two, do things to just mixer kind of things to get to know names and faces. I think maybe this year I did, the second day, so we'd done it, agreements the first day, the second day to learn a little bit more about names, how to, pick an adjective in their name, if you were an animal, what would you be? Kind of like your math thing. Or you could do if math were an animal, what would it be? And I had them share that with their partners and then introduce their partner and explain what animal they would be. So this is Katie. If she were an animal, she'd be a monkey because they like to eat bananas. And then you would introduce me and had them introduce the class.
To the whole class, so they're talking
so
out loud.
They shared it with their partner, had a little bit of time to talk, and then they talked about it out loud. I think I did that the second day so that I would have a name association. It's something to break the ice. It's something fun and totally unrelated to math. But they need those kind of team class building activities as the year begins too. So I try to think of things like that. I think I'm more preoccupied with making sure that I have a clear vision for what they're going to learn, and that things are set up around the classroom where I want them to, so that I'm not switching those around constantly.
Oh, switching it on them, because that can cause
Mhm.
chaos.
Exactly. So, where are things going to be in the board? Where's my desk going to be located? So that it's easy, it works for me. And some things are okay to add later. Like I don't put the boxes out for my warm-ups until a little bit once we start warm-ups. So they might not be their first day, but they're there, 2 or 3 days later once your attendance kind of evens out.
Evens it, yeah.
Because and it's hard because you invest so much time in the first day or 2 or 3, and then you get kids coming in and out still that disrupts that flow. So I try not to do like the writing their names in, permanently or whatever, or just get kind of draft lists of classes because I try to get anything that I can ready, because once the year starts, it starts, and you hit the ground running, and there's not as much of the organizational time. So think about like how you're going to record grades. In Panama, we're required to keep a grade book. You may not be required to keep a grade book, or you may just be required to keep it online. And so,
It's trippy.
how are you going to record grades? Like I used to just use a sheet like you've been using, and that was everything, and then I just put it in online, and didn't have like an official grade book, but here we're required by law. But just figuring out like getting those Excel sheets made up if that's the case, or your seating charts. Another first day thing. I don't think kids should ever be able to choose their seats, and that's a personal thing, but I don't think they make good choices regardless of what age they are. And it's a good way, at least I've found, to establish my rulership in the class.
Dictatorship.
The first day. As I say, it's a Dennisocracy, sorry. But I greet them at the door when they walk in. One of the other Capturing Kids hard thing is you greet them with a handshake and look them in the eye, and it not only, it's a good practice, but it helps prepare them for life. Like, you need to know how to greet somebody, and so you're teaching them that skill without ever really teaching them that skill. So I greet them with a handshake, introduce myself, and say, "Hi, I'm Miss Dennis. Who are you?" They tell me who they are. A lot of times, if I know it's a nicknamey name, I'll say, "And is that what you like to be called?" And I have my seating chart right in front of me, so I can change it to a nickname if they want to.
And say,
I can phonetically spell it if it doesn't make sense to me, if I need to know how to pronounce it. So I can write myself a little note as to like how they pronounce their name. And I know who's there as well, because they've introduced themselves to me. And so I'll say, "Welcome, Guillermo, please sit at desk number 4. So all of a sudden he knows, like, I'm in charge from the second you walk in that room, because I've told you where you're going to sit. It hasn't been a choice of yours. And that also, for me, eliminates having to do Andreas here, Carla here, on the first day. Because I know where everybody's supposed to sit, so I can see where the hole is and know who's absent, and not have to go through a roster and not have to make a fool of myself pronouncing their names in front of everybody.
right, you need to hear them say it more often than you need to say it yourself.
So having a seating chart ready is something I try to get done. And just knowing knowing what you want, knowing that if they ask, so what are we going to learn this year, you have a prepared response for them. You know what they're going to learn. You may not know how they're going to learn it or what activities you're going to do, but you have a good overview of the goal for the class. And will these, will your procedures and things kind of morph and modify? Of course. But I think that's more of what I think about prior to the beginning of the year is, okay, so is everything, are desks how they want them to be so that the kids can see and learn? Is everything kind of around the room in a functional manner? Is it look like kind of an inviting place for them to come into? And then do I have all of my things organized so that when the mad rush of kids coming in the school year starts, I'm not flailing trying to create the things that I need for the beginning, but they're done and I can focus on the million other things that are going to come up throughout the year.
Okay.
A personal one, but you say if you want to. I think establishing rapport with parents at the very beginning is really important as well. And so I try to collect all parent emails within the first week or two and send them a note welcoming them to class. And that should be much easier with, new online systems or whatever. You may not even have to collect it from kids. But I think that's a critical part, is that they know that they can communicate with you. Does it add more work to you? Absolutely, because you're communicating with parents all year. But I think I know it's valuable. It's worthwhile. And then, again, another personal thing, but after they come for parent conferences, or like parent-teacher, or whatever it's called at the beginning, teacher night, orientation kind of thing. So within the first couple weeks of school, there's always like a meet the teacher sort
Open
of
house.
thing. Thank you.
Open house.
That's what it's called. There's always often one of those. And so
You keep
having
track
a
of the
record,
names, don't you?
having a record of who comes, and then specifically sending a note to those who came, thank you for coming. I look forward to the year. And it doesn't have to be anything long, but I feel like they recognize it. And it goes a long way if you've done some of those proactive positive things when you have to do a negative thing because their kids acting a fool or doing bad academically. They already know that you're there to support them and you care, and it's not the end of the world that they're hearing from a teacher.
Right, because sometimes it is the end of the world. And it's an email that you send, not a physical note. Okay, because like in elementary school, we had a physical note with borders and apples and schoolhouses that got sent home. Any agreements that you sign, that the parents need to sign? Like, do you have an agreement sheet that student, date, parent, date?
I don't, no.
I've had those before.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think, on their syllabus the first year, I actually did have them sign something.